challenged the Independent National Electoral Commission against conducting the August 16, 2025 by-elections without including the names and logo of its candidates on the ballot. In a statement signed by factional National Publicity Secretary Abure-led, the party insisted that such exclusion will violate the Electoral Act 2022 and risk nullifying the entire exercise. Labour Party urged well-meaning Nigerians to prevail on INEC to respect the Constitution and electoral law in its dealings with political parties. He accused the electoral body of gambling with nation's resources and warned that the Labour Party would not hesitate to seek legal remedies to protect its image and reputation. He stressed that political parties have a duty to defend their credibility and will not tolerate any conduct from any regulatory body aimed at undermining them. According to him, INEC's actions could trigger unnecessary political crisis and result in colossal financial waste. The Labour Party spokesman reminded INEC of the Supreme Court's April 4, 2025 ruling, which affirmed that leadership matters remain the internal affairs of political parties. He noted that the party's March 27, 2024 convention in INEC duly produced Julius Abure as national chairman, making any non-recognition of his leadership a violation of legal and constitutional provisions. He called on INEC under Professor Mahmood Yakubu to respect the court's decision and oppose the rights of the Labour Party in the upcoming elections. George, what do you make of this story?
Well, Julius Abure, the position he has taken, for me, that is the right thing to do, because he feels that he's the right person that the party has elected to become its national chairman. So he has looked at INEC, who is planning to exclude the Labour Party, given the internal crisis that has rocked the party. It appears to INEC that the Labour Party does not have leadership. And for a party that does not have leadership, because the chairman of the party has a role to play in who emerges as candidates in the party and all that. So if the party is having such leadership position, INEC has taken a position to exclude them. Why Julius Abure is trying to enforce his own rights, saying that I am the chairman of the party, given this ruling by the Supreme Court that says that the leadership of every political party is an internal matter. It has nothing to do with the court and all that. So, but I believe INEC is also a legal entity.
Well, one would say Julius Abure's position, is this a case of quoting the Supreme Court or judgment of court when it favors him, and then when it doesn't favor him, he'll remember another judgment? Recall that a high court has an appeal court affirmed him as Labour Party's national chairman, and Supreme Court upturned that judgment of the appeal court. It is on this now that Nenadi Osman is claiming her strength to act as the National Caretaker Committee chairman.
Appointed by who?
Appointed by, you recall that in the first instance, the INEC meeting that saw Abure did not follow due process, one. And not just that, INEC was not present in that INEC meeting as well, according to electoral laws and then how party run their INEC. Well, you're a party man. Let me ask you this question. They need to monitor the convention.
They have to be on ground, even have to sign a column.
So in this convention, INEC was not there, because one would say if INEC had been in that convention and signed that column you're talking about, probably INEC would have recognized this position in the NEC that saw his leadership. Don't you agree?
Well, maybe that could be the reason why INEC has chosen not to even recognize the current leadership of Labour Party headed by Julius Abure, given the fact that the convention that he claims that brought him, that threw him up, INEC was not duly notified. They were not there on ground to monitor or even sign the column to authenticate his leadership of the party. So I think that could be the reason. And that also could be the reason why Julius is firing on all servos to ensure that, this is, for me, is like a threat, trying to cow the INEC into submission. If the INEC does not understand what is at play, or does not stand their ground, they will just give in to what he's doing. That's exactly what I think Julius is doing. But I believe INEC is also an institution that is, backed and guided by, our
laws.
legal, laws and all that. So I believe they would have sought some kind of advice from their legal department that says you do not need to recognize this person and all that. So the matter will end at the court. If what INEC has decided to do is to exclude, anybody from Labour Party from contesting, given the fact that Julius Abure is still there, claiming to be the leader from a convention that they did not monitor, which they ought to monitor and even sign a column. You understand? So I feel that is exactly what is at play. So for me, sometimes the best way to resolve some of these things is to go back.
It's a political resolution.
Seriously, call the warring factions and see how they can resolve their matter and write to INEC. INEC will definitely accept because, like the court, Supreme Court has said, internal matter of the party, is what the party will resolve. It's not something an outsider or even the court can discuss for them or resolve for them. So if the warring faction, the Nadi Usman faction, and the Julius Abure faction come together as a people, the elders of the party, to see how they can resolve their matter, I think they can. All they will need to do is just to issue a communique, write to INEC officially that we have resolved, and following this, that, so person is this. And INEC will, because INEC has nothing, to gain by excluding Labour Party from contesting.
How do you see this, this position that INEC has taken? I'm looking at the consequences of this decision by INEC, the consequences it's going to have on Labour Party, considering that in the forthcoming 2027 elections, now there will be more defections, because the party now has automatically been demarcated, as it were. It has lost its luster, even if there was a little remaining, and people were still holding our hope. At this point that INEC has taken this decision to delist members of Labour Party and exclude them from these by-elections, I mean, to a large extent, anybody that has 2027 political ambition at this point might start leaving the Labour Party.
The truth is as simple as what you've just said here now. If eventually, because this thing has timeline, it has timeline to fill in this and that, fill this form and that, submit to INEC, so that INEC will publish and start their own preparation and all that. So time for primary elections for the parties and all that. So if the politicians, like we've always said here and in other places, that the political parties are just vehicles, is a means to an end. If on your way to, the end where you're headed, and the vehicle develops some kind of tire fault and all that, you don't need to, remain there waiting for vulcanizer to come fix it. If the vulcanizer is not even closed, you look for the next available vehicle that is also headed the same place and join. That's exactly the point that Nigerian politicians. So if they cannot resolve, if INEC cannot recognize the validity of the leadership of Labour Party and include them in the forthcoming election, what that means is that the political players will leave. Those that have interest to run for one election or the elective position or the other will leave that place and join other parties. They might even join smaller parties that are not as big as Labour Party, just to contest the 2027 election. And that, at the end of the day, will kill Labour Party. Because if a political party is made up of people, if the people who are, the ones making the party to be what it is, leaves the party becomes nothing. So if these leaders, Julius Abure and Nadi Usman and the rest of the staff, they have also made up their mind to abandon the sinking ship and head somewhere else. If they actually love the Labour Party and those who are members of the party, at that leadership level, they can call for a meeting and resolve their differences right to INEC, and INEC will uphold, because the Supreme Court has already ruled that anything that has to do with the party remains their internal affairs.